Oh, Merry Christmas, and welcome to Reverse Swirl. Kevin and I will be getting into what Reverse Swirl is very shortly, but if you enjoy this, just know that Kevin and I have done a previous Reverse Swirl episode featuring Casino Royale, which is available for $5 OTP backers over at patreon.com/cinemaswirl. And that's where you can go for Cinema Swirl and all that good stuff. Alright, let's get reverse swirling. Reverse Swirl! Oh, I've just opened my advent calendar and I don't really know what this is. What's that? What's that meant to be? Is that a shoe? It's episode number 2! It's me, boy cow Sam Chaplin, moonwalking backwards through Tinseltown and appreciating all the tinsel because it is Christmas after all. And who am I joined by? Well, D Diddley, it's my OT Piddly, it's Kevin Mahan. Kevin, how are you doing?
Now, I was going to say it never gets any easier, but look at you now. You're fucking in the groove all of a sudden. This is legitimately, before we recorded, there was a little, let's have a pause to kind of get it all together because there was a looming sense of foreboding here. And Piddly D indeed. This went very smoothly. Reverse Swirl, Sam. Here we are. Back at it again.
Well, so listeners may be wondering why I referred to this as episode 2.
Yeah, mate, what's that all about then?
And not episode 73. And just what I had in the chamber ready to go was, I'm afraid the waves were too strong, sir. He's gone. You mean he's dead in the sea? It's episode 73. I had that ready to go. That was in the chamber.
I noticed there are a lot more beats in your rhymes. Like, there's a turn to kind of...
Well, look... Listeners at home, I can now reveal to you that thus concludes the written portion of my introduction. So now we're very much off-piste and things might get dangerous.
So what I thought this could have been, though, was that the entire episode was going to be some sort of a long con rhyme for episode 73. Like, within the rhyme for episode 73,
the whole
there
episode.
Existed a second ever episode of Reverse Swirl. Could you believe it?
Oh, imagine if I did that right at the end. Oh, well,
I have to re-record the whole thing, mate.
Yeah, well, I'll do it in post. I'll edit it in. So, yeah, the reason why I'm calling this episode 2 is that this is Reverse Swirl, and we have previously done a Reverse Swirl over on Patreon, patreon.com/cinemaswirl.
That is patreon.com/cinemaswirl.
We reviewed Casino Royale, the Bond film. Now, we're still planning to release that on the main feed. It was going to coincide with the release of the new James Bond, but who knows when that'll be. It will come when it comes.
It was meant to be No Time to Die, but now instead it's no time to release a movie, says I. Why I? You know, it's going to be a while. And this was one of the first times ever where we at Cinema Swirl had decided we were going to, you know, really tie in. And like, this is, there was a calendar app involved here.
Yeah.
And admitting out of the many casualties in Hollywood of the COVID crisis, of productions and whatnot, yes, our plans to release former premium content to a non-paying audience have been scuppered, but you get allusions to that paid content instead, which is worth its weight in gold, lads.
And hey, if you can't wait, you can become a $5 OTP backer and get access to that and all of the Cinema Swirl and all that good stuff. You'll have heard me talking about it at the start.
You heard it here first. Get access to James Bond 007 No Time to Die feature film over... You said you've got it, though, haven't you? No?
I'll be posting some mega upload links on the Patreon, and that's all fine.
And we absolutely won't be, and that was a joke. There you are now. There we are.
Thank you. But yeah, so this is episode 2 of Reverse Swirl. What is Reverse Swirl? Good question. This is one of those rare occasions where I have seen a film and Kevin hasn't.
Say what?
I know, right? Record scratch sound effect. This is a Christmas Reverse Swirl because Kevin hasn't seen the Christmas movie Elf. What's all that about?
Well, funny you should ask, Sam, because it only actually struck me when I found out that this apparently is one of the Christmas movies, What Made Us.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
as a result of that, genuinely, I thought I'd seen this movie. I reckoned I'd had it on at some point, surely, and I'd seen it.
Yeah.
And then Joe, the intern, was like, and you remember this person's in it, and you remember the plot details of anything, and then it occurred to me that no, in fact, I had not seen it, and yeah, I don't know why I thought I did. I'd never seen this movie before, and it went by the wayside. I thought this was like a kids' movie when it came out, so I did.
Well, I don't want to give anything away, but I would say it falls into a kind of family category, perhaps, with some more risque bits and bobs.
What year did this come out?
This came out in 2003.
Okay now, right. It's all explained now, folks, isn't it? 2003, okay, assuming it's around December time, 2003.
Whoa, steady on there, detective man.
I was just 15. You know what? Hey, I can never say a teenage number and not have Ringo Starr go, if you know what I mean. And oh god, I'm very grateful 12 doesn't rhyme with that. Anyway, I think as a result, I think we circled the wagons on this issue before on Cinema Swirl, perhaps on Cinema Swirl, but I feel that sometimes you're in that ripe age of rejecting wholesome content.
Yes.
And I submit to you, my lord, that I was in fact quite a surly 15-year-old probably at the time, who probably didn't smell very well either, and as a result denied myself the saccharine joys of this movie. And I'll tell you what, every single year people have asked me to watch this movie. Yeah. I've seen it on telly a few times, consciously or otherwise, I have avoided it. And in the last few years, this is true, there's been a few occasions where we were going to watch it, but Joe the intern, to her credit...
Yes, thank you, Joe the intern.
...demanded that we don't watch it because she reckoned it would have made a great Reverse Swirl. And that was years before there was even a Patreon. Whoa.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and this was also Joe the intern's idea, this whole episode.
Thanks.
Yeah, we had something else ready for the vote, and it wasn't as good as this.
No, our other Christmas plans were really shit, and you'll see them in 2021 when... And if you're looking back now going, that was a banger, good on... Like, it's a good thing Joe's done. You'll see quite how good it is in 12 months' time.
Yes.
When you literally be at war with each other, and I'm saying it now, I'm not taking sides.
Yeah, no spoilers,
not taking
that's
sides.
Going to be a complicated vote in a year's time. But as we've learned from 2020, time goes really quick, so that's not going to be that far away.
Yeah, what it was, guys, is that we just thought 2020 had already taken so much from you that we didn't want to put you through that as well in the community.
You know, it's too much division. You know, I want something that kind of brings us together. You know,
tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Because this would have otherwise been behind a paywall, probably.
Now, hey, Kevin, you know how I'm the one leading the way because it's the reverse swirl and things are backwards?
I'm a horse being led to water. Will I drink? Stay tuned to find out.
Yeah, but what I'm going to have to do is ask the horse, when am I supposed to do mailbag again? Is it before we talk about the film or after we've talked about the film?
Well, just between you and me and the road here now.
Yeah.
And don't you be looking horse. Why did you bring such a curious horse? With his curious eyes. Genuinely, Sam.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that we've been doing this podcast for 7 years, thereabouts.
There's no hard and fast rule about when it comes in.
Honestly, it's a real roll of the dice. Sometimes if I feel like the chat about the movie isn't going to be spirited enough, I'll bring out the mailbag and, nothing gets us going like a big bag.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, sometimes it's used, it's a tactical bag sometimes.
Sure. Okay. So it's dealer's choice. It's up to my discretion as to when I bring in the bag.
When you're dealing with a bag, there should be no fast and hard rule.
All right. Well, with that in mind, let's go have a look in the mailbag.
Oh, very good.
Yes, welcome to the mailbag.
I want to say, Sam, you did a real good job on that. I like the timing there. Because, I was saying earlier, like, if there hadn't been a bit of that. It was good. And I thought, well, if you didn't go into it then, though, I mean, there was a small part of me that thought if you didn't go in there, then when is he going to go in?
Yeah. Thank you for your help. And here we are in the mailbag.
Looking a fine big bag it is as well for Reverse Swirl. The bag is inside out.
Look, just a side note, I really love the energy of this because it feels like it's not going to be weird, and then it is just inherently a bit weird. It's not. It's okay. It's fine. So, our first message here comes in from Jim. This is not festive just yet. This is just with regards to our previous episode. After watching Robin Hood, what do you think of the fan theory that links that movie to both Zootopia and, believe it or not, The Lion King? Some fans decided that these movies exist in their own alternate universe.
What is that alternate universe fucking Pornhub playlist, man? Because that immediately is what I think links all those movies. Active communities surrounding them.
Well, we shall see. And that The Lion King, in this alternate universe, started things by the simple act of getting a large carnivore, a lion, to eat insects instead of other prey mammals. This began an age of cooperation between species that continued into Robin Hood's Middle Ages, brackets, still with a lion ruling, before technological discoveries pushed things into the Zootopia age, complete with a lion mayor. Jim asks, is eating bugs the key?
No, whoa!
Yeah.
You seen all that and you ain't seen A Bug's Life. Oh, that's my friend Flick over there. He's the inventor ant. You gonna fuck him up the ass like that? Come on.
Proper spanner in the works there. Yeah.
Eating bugs. Oh, what? Because the grasshoppers haven't eaten enough? I've been it's about the famine. So insane. Where's that from? Is it an English email address again, is it? .Britain, is it?
It has come from .Brit, yeah.
Fuck me,
Brit.
man, I knew it as well. Or the flag emojis and all. I should have known. Right, the Republican in me was activated first.
Sure.
But secondarily, the zoologist has come to the forefront now.
Dangerous combination.
Imagine if they got the vote. Now, here's a question.
Yeah.
How in this are we explaining a biological development whereby they can speak and communicate, interspecies communication? We have that.
Yes.
But we're all still quadrupeds for the most part, on all fours, living as animals would. I'm just saying we're missing a movie, like a Rise of the Planet of the Apes scenario, where all of a sudden, are you telling me because of that, there's too many questions already, Sam, that's the problem.
Sure.
Are you telling me from that the Lion King existed, and then these are intelligent, cooperating animals, and they joined together, then they ousted the hated British, including the Sheriff of Nottingham, and they, took all their clothes, like a weird Animal Farm thing, and they're like, I'm the Sheriff of Nottingham now, and it's all weird. Is that what you're saying? That they became humans by overthrowing us, by becoming us?
I don't know, and I haven't seen Zootopia, so I don't know how that little extra bit at the end factors into it.
And I'm also very sorry as well, knowing the audiences, that I might have just come within a very unarousing bit of chat there.
Yeah, don't destroy the fantasy.
I did, and I realised for certain people that is the absolute fucking dictionary definition of a mood killer, what I just did there. I brought up zoology, I brought up convergent evolution. Yeah, I'll stay away from that.
Jim, in answer to your question, is eating bugs the key? I would have to say undecided, and if anything, you've brought up more questions than you have helped us answer.
Prawn's just a big bug though, isn't it?
Yeah.
And every time I tell someone, they're like, I just won't eat prawns then, I guess. Fine, All right, I have to bring this up now.
Okay.
And I don't want to be fighting at Christmas.
No.
All right? And I've said it now, and I've said that.
We're having a lovely festive time so far.
Yeah, all right. We'll see about that now. All right. And I don't want to be fighting at Christmas.
No, neither do I.
But you brought up Robin Hood there, and it's brought up a lot of feelings and memories there. And the artwork was very interesting for Robin Hood.
Oh, thank you.
And Sam, I just thought I'd give you an opportunity just to let everyone know about how you maybe arrived at the conclusion of that artwork and the process, consultations, brackets lack thereof, that kind of thing.
Well, I mean, so listeners, some of you might not know this, but each episode has its own little episode artwork where I take maybe a still from the film or the poster or something like that, and I put Joe the Intern's logo, take the little heads, put them on there, move them around, Photoshop them a bit, put us in the place of the characters.
Yeah.
And each episode has one of those. And I think what Kevin's bringing up is that I did a great job doing that again for Robin Hood. Some people were saying that was their favourite artwork yet.
Yeah, no, it was.
We love this one. Yeah.
It is. It should be a favourite artwork of someone who was an enemy or someone, who thought, oh, good on you for that. And there's a time and a place to score cheap points on me, and it's not through the medium of artwork. Not word one about... My parents think I'm doing well. They look on my Twitter and they look on my Twitter. And here's one as well, folks.
Yeah.
They're particularly interested in, like most people, the visuals.
The visuals, yeah.
They will go on there. They will say, oh, there's some nice things you've cooked or baked. They're going to see, no one should see me like that. They think I'm doing well. It's lockdown. They think that I'm a fucking massive fat cartoon bear now.
Okay, well, I'm glad you've come out and said it, because I was waiting for you to actually bring up what the issue is here. And
you made me look like a fucking gobshite. And also as well,
Little John is a beloved character.
Little. I'm 6'5" for fuck's sake.
Yeah, well, he's a big bear, so I put you on the big one.
He's a big bollocks is what he is, Sam. All right? And you're making me look like a big eaches. So there was a time where I used to get a little WhatsApp and it'd be like, here's the image. And you know what? Once upon a time, it might even be accompanied by a lone question mark following it, as if to say, is that all right with you? And there's a time when that stopped and it became just assumed that I was on board. And the time, which was last episode 72, was when the Mickey was taken.
Right. Well,
and I know it's Christmas.
I know it's Christmas. So you shouldn't be saying Mickey.
And I'm sorry. And you're a good bloke, and you're a nice guy as well. I don't want to be saying that on Christmas. Okay.
You're a good bloke, all right. Right. Okay. I hear what you're saying. I take it on board.
But why can't I be the fox?
Right. Okay. Here's what's happened here. All right.
There was a part of me that thought that you thought I was at least a little bit sexy, but that's obviously not the case. All that sexual tension from the first 72 episodes. Gone.
Yeah. First off, you're implying that Little John is unsexy, and I take umbrage with that. Secondly, right, here's what's happened here. Okay, here's what's happened. The perception that you are much taller and bigger than me, and I'm a little boy in comparison. Through artwork, through cartoons that people have done for us, that we commissioned. Like,
tone of voice plays a role.
Yeah, I've got the little voice, you've got the big voice. Everyone thinks that I'm the little one, and I'm very small. You are taller than me, but not by loads.
No, only by a hair or two.
And so this is the first time that you being the big one and me being the little one has not landed in your favour, and it's actually made you look like a bit of a bollocks.
You know, in the spirit of Christmas,
I thought it's what you would have wanted. You would have wanted to be the big strong one.
When wise King Solomon held aloft when he held aloft the walnut whip, and he's like, I'll just take the top off then and eat it normally. And then the true fan was like, don't eat like that, mate. You gotta make a little shovel out of it, lick it clean, come on, you'll get it, it's fun. And much like that, I think the only fair, wise thing to do would there to be an alternate image where, to keep it obviously going, because I am taller, you make the fox longer with my head on it, and then like a small little fecker of a bear, a little bollocks, and you can put your head on that.
So I'm stretching out Robin Hood and reducing Little John, and I'm being the actual Little John.
I've often been told I'm quite like a long fox, Sam, and I feel that my time is due. That's all.
Okay, well, you know what? Fair enough. I will make that happen for you, and I'm sure nothing will go wrong in my developing of that image for you.
And in keeping with Christmas tradition now, I'm going to go for a long, weird walk, so that if you're driving around at Christmas and you see someone who's all like... you can just think it's about that instead.
Something's kicked off. Well, thanks for that, Jim, I guess. I think things got a bit heated there, but it is Christmas, keeping it in the tradition. Hey, speaking of Christmas, John writes... Well, actually, we've got two messages about this, two separate emails, but some parallel thinking. We've got two people, we've got John and Noah, both essentially asking us what we think is the perfect Christmas Day breakfast.
I imagine for Noah, it would be 2 of every item from the breakfast buffet. Yeah.
A very good. So we've got Noah saying that he enjoys a fry-up, but his dad doesn't want to cook breakfast, saying it's too filling before Christmas lunch. And John asking us if it should be something traditional, like crispy bacon and pancakes with maple syrup. I don't think that's traditional, but maybe it's an American thing. Or maybe a portion of tiffin for Sam. Now, generally, here's the thing. I don't really recall what I've had for any Christmas breakfast ever. I know what I've had for Boxing Day breakfast.
I think the fry around Christmas time is a great idea. This is the first year I'm in charge of my own Christmas. Not been catered to by my mummy and my daddy. And I thought long and hard about this, Sam, because I like the allure of a fry, but I agree with Noah's dad there, which is that I'd be too full after that. I'm like yourself. I don't typically, I might have something very small, because the tradition in my family has always been of a starter lunch, of a kind of a cold starter lunch that happens around 2 p.m.
Bits.
We'll have half an avocado, a sliver of smoked salmon, a few prawns, a small pile of cherry tomatoes, a smear of Mary Rose sauce, that type of thing. And this year, I'm in an odd position because I think I could easily sleep in until midday on Christmas by mistake and then just wake up and be like, yawn, time to eat seafood. And I'm going to try and force myself to wake up at like kind of a sociable Christmas hour. I was thinking about maybe, here's one for you. Because I'm concerned about Christmas digestion, I've been making lots of high fiber oat biscuits. And I might have one of those to prep the landing
oat biscuit
for later on in the day.
Biscuits for breakfast? What's next? Marmalade for dinner? Yeah, I'm Johnny Vaughan from an advert for biscuits.
Well, that's what Paddington Bear will be having for his Christmas dinner.
Yeah, it would be.
The freak.
I'm not even sure if I have Christmas breakfast or if I just kind of wait until bits time, until the treeslets or cheeselets come out, you know.
Yeah, I kind of... Has this happened with you? Even though I'm probably a lot more single-minded at Christmas now, where it is Christmas, I am going to eat an awful lot.
Oh, yeah.
And the more I've become of that mindset, the more calculated I've been, the more I'm less like, I'm just going to go and eat everything. Because the thought now of me cooking a Christmas dinner and me not being able to eat it, or my mum have made a lovely Christmas dinner and me not being too full, that's mortifying to me as an adult.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You got to be a little bit more careful, you know? You got to be, tell you what, anything that could be eaten later on, so, a croissant or a pastry or something, right? That's a good Christmas breakfast.
Yeah, I think so. But it's not something I've ever considered a tradition. Maybe like when you've done your advent calendar and you get the last one. But then usually it's the 24th is the last one. So, but they do have some on Christmas Day. Just a bar of chocolate. Just a little bar of chocolate. A little bit of
breakfast.
Chocolate. For breakfast. That's a traditional Christmas breakfast for me.
And you were going at me for oat biscuits? Get out of here.
I think that's what I've had mostly for my Christmas breakfast. Anyway, thank you for that question, guys. A final question here before we wrap up the mailbag.
Also, genuinely, about that question, it made me and Joe, the intern, have to sit down and be like, what are you going to do for Christmas breakfast?
Yeah, you got to think about it.
So thank you about that for helping think about something that needed to be thought about.
Final question here, and this is a kind of movie question for you.
I love films.
Oh, we love films here over on Reverse Swirl.
Hey now.
So it comes in from Jamie, who writes, which actors would you most like to see play Santa in a Christmas film, and who would make the best Grinch? Concise, simple question. Good question. Thank you, Jamie. I would say, right, and hear me out on this, because I think there might be some sort of thing that Santa needs to be a big lad, right? But...
What, like a Santa with muscles almost, Sam?
Well, yeah. I mean, nowadays, yeah. I'm going to go for J.K. Simmons, all right? Now, he's not a swirl choice.
No.
But that was where my mind went to. And I Googled J.K. Simmons Santa to see if he'd ever dressed up as Santa. He apparently worked as a mall Santa for a bit. He was once upon a time working in a shopping mall as a Santa. I think he'd make a brilliant Santa. But he's quite hench now. He's all muscly, is J.K. Simmons, or he was at some point.
Yeah, I don't know. If you watch Oz, you don't want him as your Santa.
Do you not?
Yeah.
No.
No. Also as well, if you like Spider-Man, you don't want him to be your Santa. He's bad Santa.
I was just worried about him being typecast as a baddie, and I wanted him to have an opportunity to flex his Santa muscles.
What if we had like a bad Santa though, you know? Like a bad Santa. How about that?
Well, in terms of my Grinch, now you'd think I'd go for Nick Cage, because we've gone everyone for Nick Cage for everything.
Oh, that would be good though.
Would be interesting.
It would.
But I've gone Vinnie Jones, because the Grinch would steal Christmas and you would be too scared to ever try and get Christmas back. You just accept that Christmas was gone and you wouldn't do anything about Christmas at that point.
And never coming back.
I think it'd be a different energy from Vinnie Jones, but an interesting one for Christmas time.
Proper British Christmas. That'd be stolen in a proper British way.
So, hey, thank you so much for all your questions into cinemaswirl@gmail.com.
That's cinemaswirl@gmail.com.
I'm going to tie up the mailbag, pop it to one side, and I'm going to ask you about the film Elf, okay? Because I think you've got some knowledge of this. I think you've got enough knowledge of this that you can blag having seen it. That's my suspicion from what you've said about it. Who's in this? Who's in Elf?
I know it's Will Ferrell is in there. Yeah, 100%.
Keep going.
Oh, Jesus
Who are other stars?
I don't know. The thing is, right, I watched like Invention of Lying the other day.
Okay.
And Eric Andre shows up in it. And I have this thing where it's like, right, half the people who are like the comedy names du jour very often found themselves in smaller Hollywood roles. So I'm going to assume like Amy Shore, Tina Fey, maybe Amy Adams, cameos from Owen Wilson, Ben Stiller, Rainn Wilson. Oh, I feel there's a lot of names now where it's going to be like smaller character actors. Toby Hale maybe might show up in there. There are a lot of these names kind of around the time. A lot of people from Arrested Development who would have like been, those people who are like...
Yeah, very 2003.
Yeah, little guest roles in there. But lots of other things as well. Like the glitterati you'd see, the Hollywood elites and Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Will Ferrell is your only dead cert for who you know is in this. Can you think of anyone else who you know is in this? There is someone who we've seen in a swirl past who is in this. It's a little clue for you.
Is it anyone who I reeled off there, or did I miss him?
You missed him there.
So it's not... I was Tina Fey. I was close to saying it was going to be Tina Fey. I don't know why I've got that in my head.
Okay, but just Ferrell is your lock for this.
Ferrell's my lock. And the thing is, I've pieced together the plot mostly from what I've seen on Primark pajamas over the past few years.
Okay, and that's mainly Ferrell.
I have been living feral in a Primark in Piccadilly Gardens for a number of years now, and it's a living.
How do you feel about Ferrell? Are you a Will Ferrell fan?
I really do like him, and I think... I've never been a mega fan of his.
Some people are, aren't they?
And some people really are. But that's the thing is that he was associated strongly with that second era jock humor, like old school, Anchorman. There's a constant, he was in Talladega Nights, there's constantly he was coming out in like movies that all the boys in school and being in a boys' school. In our final year, we convinced our English teacher to let us watch Anchorman because it was 2005 and we had Anchorman fever, baby. And she watched it and she was with us and she was like, this is funny. I look back now having been a teacher and think, what are you doing? I showed my A-levels class The Martian, and then we did a session afterwards where we decided how we'd survive on Mars and do things differently. That's how you show a fucking movie at half term, yeah? Anyway, with Will Ferrell, something I always loved about him and gave him probably my closest, like, ooh, he's like a special comedian for me, is probably like his George Bush stuff he did at SNL.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because it may surprise you that I was an angry young 15-year-old who probably got a Michael Moore book that Christmas. So,
oh, George Bush.
Oh, he was rotten. And that Tony Blair. I mean,
you got him.
That's one I like to use sometime. What are you doing there? Checking out the hedge lies from the BBC, is it? There you go now. You can use that one. I was thinking about doing some kind of like culture war Christmas crackers. You can pop those ones in there, like kind of ones that make
whoa.
But as a result, I always had a soft spot in him because I thought that he parodied him in a way that was kind of like both demeaning and humanizing at the same time. Like I was able to be like, ha ha, silly man, and not be like, ha ha, the abuses of the Iraq War. But also I thought about it a bit. His production company stuff is probably the things that have like, he shows up in a small role in so many movies. Yeah. And I think Eastbound and Down, where he plays essentially the nature boy Ric Flair, the legendary professional wrestler, he always shows up in little roles like that, like Tim and Eric's $1 billion movie. Yep. Him, and that's so fucking... He just shows up in these random things. I think he knows what's funny, and what he finds funny, I find funny. And even though he's in a lot of mainstream trash, he also pops up enough in the little bits and bobs and is making enough stuff that I always kind of view him generally favourably. I will say the man's very good at shape-shifting public opinion and like kind of staying in the right type of movies to keep his entire fan base happy. I don't think anyone's pissed off with Will Ferrell, from what I can tell, which seems very strange because most people are pissed off with most people these days.
And I think we've encountered some of these before. He's one of those safe pairs of hands.
Isn't he? Yeah.
Reliable, bankable star. My favourite Will Ferrell memory is at the British Comedy Awards that were happening at the same time as Anchorman 2 was releasing. They gave him a sort of Lifetime Achievement Award, and everyone was fawning over Will Ferrell, and he got a special award there.
Were these the Chortle Awards?
No, this was like British Comedy Awards.
Oh, it was in Jonathan Ross, ITV, big shit.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Gave him an award, all this kind of stuff. Everyone was, oh my God, Will Ferrell's here. And then Johnny Vegas very bluntly pointed out that they were literally just giving him an award because he happened to be there, and so they raised this whole thing around like... Anyway, very good stuff. But yeah, a reliable, safe pair of hands. Now, in terms of Elf, the plot, what's happening, what's going on, who's Will Ferrell playing?
He's playing an elf.
He's playing an elf. What's that elf doing? What's going on with the elf? What do you reckon happens here?
All right, Christmas time, mistletoe and wine, elves in the workshop brewing Christmas wine. Okay. That's what he's working in Santa's workshop, I'm figuring.
Yeah? For the whole film?
No, I know there is a thing, but he goes into the real world. I know that much. Okay. Because I've seen the posters and the trailers of him like walking around. That's right, New York City.
New York.
New York. The city's so nice. it's covered in ice. And, and I also as well, because I'm an avid watcher of Binging with Babish, because I too like to watch things and then complain at the television and not tweet them about it. And he did a one where it was like the thing he made the food in that, and it was like loads of like sweets and stuff in a big pile. So I'm assuming it's going to be like childlike innocence of the elf meets real world. Although he's not little, is he?
No.
I don't know if it's a case where all the elves are regular sized. You know, they did that when Miz and Paige were in Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Me and Joe watched a Christmas Miz movie where we did an episode about the Miz for HT Wrestling. So they were regular sized elves in there. And
You've seen the WWE Studios elf-based Christmas movie, but you've not seen Elf.
This was WWE loaned Miz and Paige.
Okay.
And the best bit about that, I don't know why I'm talking about it.
That's all right.
The best bit about it is that like the big main kind of final sequence in it where like Miz has to take on Paige to find out who's going to be the head elf, and they basically are in Center Parks. It's just like Paige is like, "You'll never become the top elf," and then she just like kind of goes in a ripcord. It's like, wee.
So Will Ferrell, he's an elf, and at some point he's in the real world. We're not sure why he's there or what his purpose is.
Because he's there because of the elven bloodline means that once he leaves the forest, he's going to lose his immortality. So he's going there to find his one true love, and he'll meet them, and they'll be like, "Am I dreaming?" And he's like, "It's a good dream. I'm Will Ferrell. Wacka wacka." That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, interesting guess. I won't give anything away. Have you had people clamouring at you to watch Elf? You've mentioned a little bit about that.
I have had people clamouring, but most of those people clamouring have also then been like very good to unclamour themselves, because it usually happens once or twice a year where Joe will remember this movie and they'll be like, "Oh, I should do it," and then
and then you remember that you
so that's happened a lot, and then very often in groups of people it has come up around Christmas time and all that. So I think it's probably the Christmas movie I've heard people talk about the most.
Yeah, Kevin, it made us. It's one of the ones that made us.
One of two. And I honestly, I don't know if it's just all like, oh, I was a misery guts teenager, so I didn't want to watch it. Because my best mate back home, Paddy, fucking loves Elf. You know, we watched no shortage of fucking Will Ferrell movies together in university. And yet I remember specifically being asked to and then go, nah. You know what? I think it may have been put on once and I fell asleep or something like that.
Yeah. That's one of those classic Sam Chaplin excuses for not having seen it.
But that's the thing, when you're going into Christmas time here, because like I've technically
it's easy to fall asleep in front of a Christmas film.
It is. I thought I'd seen both parts of Paddington. No, I saw like kind of the first half of one and the second half of another. I didn't realise that they were double billing them.
Okay. Anything else you have absorbed about this from pop culture? Do you know who directed this?
No clue.
No. Nothing? No?
No idea. And honestly, I could give two fucking shits about directors. If you go back to any episode of Cinema Store, I'm like, and directed by, that was a hard Wikipedia job.
I'll let you know who directed it later on, but all right. Well, I'm delighted to be able to...
No,
here he comes.
I think as well, given that it's 2003, while I don't think it will have dodgy stuff in it.
Yeah.
I do think it might have an interpretation of Christmas values that might be at odds with the 2020 worldview.
I think you're not a million miles away by being cautious about potentially dodgy stuff, perhaps, at some point.
I say that as well, being very excited about all the toys that have been bought for me and I've bought from other people this year. Because I like Christmas.
So, Kevin, I'm delighted to be able to shortly unburden you of the thing where you're not allowed to watch Elf. And I'm going to say to you, right now, on Reverse Swirl, let's go do a Reverse Swirl.
Yeah!
And we're back. Kevin, we've just watched Elf. What were your initial gut reactions to the Will Ferrell comedy Christmas movie, Elf?
Yeah!
Okay, yeah. See, now you're speaking my language. Now we're on the same wavelength. Okay.
There's a couple of factors that were of asterisk-worthy note, I think, in this.
Yeah.
Because, number one, it was obviously Christmas time and quite close to Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
This is the last movie I have to watch for a podcast before I can watch movies for Christmas, you know? So it had a special kind of end of term feel going to it. So I got a buff from that.
Right.
The other side was that I'm doing Christmas for the first time ever not at home this year. And I was expecting a big order of special Christmas sausages that I've gotten. All sorts. Savoy, Lorne, Represented, Cumberland, Chipolote, all of them are here. And as a result, there was an element of me that had an eye not affixed to my phone, but when I was taking my notes, I did have my phone also rested on my lap in case, and I had all other notifications turned off, mind. So if I did get anything, and nothing happened. But you should say that also was kind of Christmassy as well a little bit. She pointed out to me earlier.
Yeah.
You know, it is a little bit because the goose is coming. Come on now.
The traditional Christmas feeling of the sausages might come any minute. I'm going to get that sausage text.
Yeah, and I mean, look, Christmas, much like the sausage text, comes but once a year, Sam.
Yeah.
And you got to be ready for that sausage text. You don't want to let that ST go over your head, you know?
So your initial gut reactions to Elf were positive. You're feeling good.
First 5 to 10 minutes, there was an element of me that thought, you might actually be out of a Christmas headspace for this. And by Act 2's beginning, I was very much firmly with it. And by the end, it had dusted off Christmas residue on me, which I believe may be magic.
Fantastic. So, hey, we open with the voice of Mr. Bob Newhart, who, I don't know about you, I know Bob Newhart from, I think, Bob Newhart being on The Simpsons playing Bob Newhart, or at least someone who could do a serviceable Bob Newhart impression. I think he was like comparing a funeral or something and just doing that kind of, mumbly, repeating himself kind of stuff. But he's got a lovely, soft voice, has Bob Newhart.
He does. He's got a very deliverable voice. You ever eat something and it just slips down, kind of? It's I could eat an infinite amount of these crepes. Yeah. Well, it feels like that with his voice. I feel I could listen to a several hour long podcast with him at the helm.
Oh, if he hasn't started a podcast, he's missing an absolute trick.
Come on now.
Yeah. Now, hey, we're in the North Pole, Santa's workshop. We're here with all these little elves. I found out that one of these elves is played by the little boy from A Christmas Story, a film that neither of us know about nor care about.
No, that's true.
But he's there. So if we miss that he's there, people go, oh, did you know that it's him? Yeah, but I don't know who he is.
In the true Christmas spirit, I really tried not to care about noticing people because I realised quite early on that I had done quite a scattergun approach to the guess who might be in this movie and named half of Hollywood. And between that list and the list of actual people who are in this, I am feeling quite overwhelmed at the moment.
And
it's Christmas Day if you're listening to it on Christmas Day. It is, isn't it? So come on now.
Yeah, it's just before or just after Christmas, Them
CGI trolls, they were horrible.
Oh, yeah. So, one of the things I love about this film is that most of the effects are practical, or they're forced perspective, or they're kind of
stop motion action later on.
Clever tactile camera tricks. But there is one little CGI troll who is particularly upsetting to look at. It's just for a throwaway gag.
Notoriously difficult to stop motion animate or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know why you didn't just get or someone in a suit or something like that, but there is just a little bit of CG.
You don't want to work with kids or animals or stop motion involving trolls. How come there are no trolls in the extended Wallace and Gromit universe? You have your answer.
So no human being has ever set foot in Santa's workshop. They've tried trolls, as we mentioned. They've tried gnomes, but the gnomes were just...
When they say they tried, is that the gnomes tried to breach Santa's workshop and they had a go, and they got further than Shackleton ever could, is what I'm saying.
No humans until about 30 years ago, and that's where our story starts. Now we get the name of the director on screen. Do you recognise the director of this film?
Yeah, it's none other than the Plandalorian himself, because he's involved in the creation of it, so I imagine he's done with a lot of the mechanics of the organisation of it to be a plan.
Plandalorian.
John Fav, row your boat gently down the streaming service.
Big time Hollywood director John Favreau.
Oh Mr. Big Time here.
Who before this was just like known primarily as an actor, still known as an actor, but now he's known as, Marvel, Star Warsy director man. I think this might have been his first big break in terms of getting his name out there as a director, particularly.
I mean, this definitely got him on that couple of episode arc of The Sopranos for sure, Once Paulie Walnut's got a load of elf. Oh! I noticed that when Santa's sack came down the chimney, and it may have been because I was slightly hungry, I mistookish for a Christmas ham because of the angle. It looked like just a very well glazed ham.
Big chimney ham that we talked about.
And that's the odd thing now that you just say that. A ham in a fireplace doesn't really seem that out of place, does it?
No.
There's a nice centerpiece, a nice big roast ham in there. We all gather around the ham.
On Christmas morning, your dad will climb up on top of the house and try and jam a ham down the chimney. Come on, Dad! And all the kids are just sat around the fireplace waiting for it to come.
He only has to do it if your dad loses the Christmas Eve bet of who can throw a ham over the roof of the house. And it's all right, you couldn't do it, Dad. You have to climb up and push it down, get the grease.
Now, in classic sort of fairy tale Christmas story tradition, we're in an orphanage and there's a little lonely baby there, and Santa's sneaking down the chimney to give out his presents. But the little curious baby has crawled into Santa's ham and is going to...
He's got a sweet tooth. This baby's straight for the sugar. Also, how's this not happened loads? I bet this happens all the time.
What, little kids crawling into the Santa's sack?
Big flap on it, open like that. Trail of fucking breadcrumbs.
I just had a horrible thought that, like, maybe this is the only one who's survived the journey.
Yeah, that's honestly it. Maybe what it would have been, Sam, is that this was later on in the journey, so there wouldn't have been such a crush factor for anyone who went into the bag. Happy Christmas, everyone.
Happy Christmas, everyone. But, hey, this baby crawls out of the sack back at the North Pole, and he just like, hey, I'm a little baby. And they call the baby Buddy because he's got the brand name of his diapers, his little Buddy diapers.
And you can call me shocked because Santa's a baldo. Who would have thought? Whoa! We got a bald Santa Claus here. That's a very interesting interpretation on the Santa Claus myth, that he's a bald man.
Yes, now when I was watching the Netflix Movies What Done Made Us documentary about this, it was like, we had to get Ed Asner in as Santa. And I'm like, again, not 100% confident I know who Ed Asner is, but I think it must have been a big deal to have him. But yeah, bald Santa. Although you don't really see Santa's head under the hat that often.
Side note though, Sam.
Yeah.
Just not to criticise the streaming service or anything, that's got to be some light viewing what you did there now.
Yeah,
wafer thin.
It was
wafer thin.
It wasn't a brilliant little documentary.
You know what? I admire their restraint in not stretching out to an unnecessarily long 10-part 1 hour per episode.
It was just basically, IMDb, you can scroll down to the trivia bit. It was that.
Who wants to scroll, Sam?
It was that.
Why scroll when you can stream?
So all these fun little sequences of Buddy being, even as a little kid, being bigger than all the elves, are those actual force perspective practical effects, literally people standing further back or going forward and setting up little rigs to do it. You could at that time have done it CG or done some computer wizardry and bangery, but I admire the fact that they made it through actual camera trickery, which we had with Lord of the Rings as well, didn't we? There's a lot of that with
true.
Gandalf.
I like that it's obviously it's got that kind of sophistication to it, and these are great effects and all that, but I do like as well that they kind of lean into the whole like weird concept that Santa's land is this weird soundstage. You can very much see it's like it's small painted construct. Yeah. But the fact that you see all these little stop motion creatures and stuff in there, it really, really actually works in that it's just this kind of strange like dream sequence place. And I, for one, love that a lot. Side note, they call him Buddy after the nappies.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine a world where a kid in the UK gets named Pampers and doesn't grow up to be a proper tough bollocks. Oi, Pampers.
Oh, Vinnie Jones as Pampers.
Come on there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, we can't use him in your Santa Claus movie because he's going to be Pampers.
Pampers is coming. What? You bought Pampers? Yeah, everyone be scared of Pampers.
You'll need another pair of them now because you probably have done a shit in your trousers now, haven't you? At the mere thought of the name.
So Bob Newhart is kind of Buddy's adoptive dad. He becomes his de facto father.
Yeah, this is this weird forced adoption thing I've heard about on Facebook Facebook group chats where it's like Santa has a decision to make, and that decision involves no chat of like contacting the orphanage, or I'm just saying if that process is there, we do not see it.
No, and he gets handed off onto Bob Newhart, who apparently did want a little elf child, but been too busy making toys all his life to ever make that happen. So now he's got a little son, and they're fixing Santa's sleigh together, which is normally powered by Christmas spirit. But Kevin, people aren't believing in Santa anymore.
Yeah, this was a flaw of the movie. This was too early. We were like 10 minutes in. They're like, oh, by the way, in 2003, I know you're thinking, the good old days.
Good old days of 2003.
The heady days, the fall of GeoCities. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And the fact that they're like, oh yeah, there's an existential crisis and people aren't like happy anymore.
Well, yeah. I suppose it was a bit early to introduce the whole, like...
Yeah, I don't want that.
No, and I like that the solution is, well, people aren't believing in Christmas, so let's just strap a fucking jet engine to it, which is kind of great that they just popped that on there.
I thought they replaced the reindeer with the jet. I wasn't made clear to me, and I thought, ooh, that's a cruel reindeer game to play on them.
I think it was more... they didn't put them out of work. It was more to supplement their driving force.
You gotta feel shit, because there's a plot point of the engine not working, and it's like, these reindeer couldn't fucking drag this sleigh if it wasn't flying.
They're not getting a good shout in here, the reindeer.
They can fly, yet they just simply can't lift this weight of the sleigh. Now, there's nothing saying that later on, is it that it's an increase in faith make a reindeer fly better, or does it make the sleigh lighter?
I'm starting to doubt whether there are reindeer in this. I now can't remember whether I saw...
No, there is. There definitely is.
They are there.
I just stopped watching. I stopped an hour ago watching this movie.
Right, there are reindeer in it. Yeah. Okay.
I'm 85%.
Yeah, it starts to creep in. You're like, wait a minute.
Don't let Reindeer Day ruin your Christmas at home, folks, all right? Don't let it creep in. It starts at home.
Now, meanwhile, Buddy, being a human in a land of elves, is not a good toy maker. So much so that he lashes out, he gets upset, and he calls himself a cotton-headed ninny muggins.
Oh, wash your mouth out.
And he's sent to be a toy tester, because he's not very good.
Well, there's a thing here where they're like saying, the things that he's actually good at. And I saw that all they had to say nice about him was his tallness, and I felt a little bit seen.
Oh, that he changed the smoke alarm batteries, reached the high shelves.
I'm just saying, the things on the high shelves in our house are the things that only, like, either I need to access or, like, can only be accessed by me. There's, like... There's a way to that, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of responsibility, and I'm sure Buddy has some of that. Is Will Ferrell actually tall? I think he is tall as well, isn't he?
I heard he's a big, tall bitch.
Yeah, so it's even more more exaggerated here. And while he's testing toys and stuff and getting surprised by Jack-in-the-Boxes, which is there's loads of good visual gags in here. There's too many to keep mentioning, but there will be some.
Yeah, it's always the issue in a cinema or reverse swirl or swill, which is you don't want it just to be a plain recitation of the things in a funny movie that are funny. I will say, however, it did make me ponder a lot about the old Jack-in-the-Box. Firstly, they're obviously quite horrible, jerk-in-the-box, we all know that. Yeah. But then my mind dwelled on this thought, Sam, which is, do you think, the plural of a Jack-in-a-Box?
Oh, Jacks. Oh.
Because I asked Jo, the intern who watched this with me, and she had a lovely time, and she said that she thought it was Jack in the Boxes. And then I thought, is it not Jacks in the Box? Or Jacks in the Boxes?
Jacks in the Boxes? Is it a double plural situation?
Or do you do it like a very high-profile restaurant menu where it's just Jack, box? Or Jack's Boxes.
What's it? AirPods Pro Maxes. It's hard to remember what the pluralization is, but it is tricky.
I was anti-Jack in the Box at the end of this because of the confusion there and the thought of, like, it's a one-note gag and it's an unpleasant gag as well.
One Jack in the Box, two Jacks in the Box. No, I think Jack in the Boxes. But then that implies there's one Jack among several boxes.
What if it's more than three? It's just called a jacked up box.
What you got here is a bunch of jacked up boxes.
Oh, it's really sad. He doesn't know really about...
No,
that's cruel now.
Doesn't know he's a real boy, and...
A wolf would be better at raising them in that sense.
It's revealed because he overhears some elves saying, oh, he's rubbish. If he hasn't figured out he's a human by now, he never will. And this causes him to, freak out, faint, run back home, hide in the bathroom.
He has the big scary sequence where he's viewing all these things being said in his head, and I want to retract my comments about calling him a jerk in the box, because when they showed him close up, He had a lovely little face.
Hey, nice little fun jester clown thing.
A nice little guy, indeed.
Yeah, lovely guy. And so it falls to Bob Newhart to kind of comfort him.
By telling him his tragic parental situation. Also, his neck must be so sore. All the leaning and the...
Yeah.
An almighty hump has developed.
I think he's been so positive that he's never asked, why is everything small and not suitable for me? What's going on? What's happening here?
What's lumbar support, elf friends? We don't know. Fuck's sake.
He was put up for adoption. His mum has died. His dad is alive. And he's in New York City. And look, Kevin, this sets off Buddy on his adventure to go to New York. And you know how I feel about stop motion, that I'm scared of it. But...
unsettling, you said before. We tried to tease this out a little bit in the Nightmare Before Christmas. And we settled on the fact that it was something that wasn't going to be like, you're going to see it and it's like, oh no, stop motion. But if it was there for a particular length of time, I'm doing a very upsetting hand motion here. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm like a spider sewing. I'm very sorry.
Please stop it. I hate both of those things.
But you said that it's something that can creep up on you, like kind of a that more of a vibe, right?
But the thing I enjoy here is that these ones are good and they look good quality and they don't move in a scary way and they're cute, and also they're used sparingly. We get a lovely dapper looking snowman.
Yeah, and he's all like nice shapes, like spheres. You know what your stand with a sphere.
Yeah, and look, this film again. I don't want to point out every single funny thing because that's going to take a long time. There's a lot of laughs here, but the script is tightly packed with jokes.
There's lots of those layered visual gags.
Layered visual gags, little bits in the script for, nerds to pick up on.
And combos as well, where it's like, oh, that's a funny bit, here's another bit. Bam! Combo modifier.
The snowman talks about his youth when he was a cumulonimbus cloud. And I'm like, because he's made of snow, and when he was young, he would have been a cloud. That's,
Finally, some geography teacher content. Where's my Oxbow Lake gags?
Hey, bad news, Kevin. Buddy's dad, he's on the naughty list.
Of course he is. He's James Caan. We've done Godfather.
Yeah, it's Sonny. It's Sonny Corleone.
When he got shot up, that was symbolic of him being put on the naughty list. That's what that was all about, that scene. I like that Santa gives him these like hot New York tips. He's like, you want to go to Sal's on 4th and all this stuff. Like, make sure you get a New York slice, I hear.
Yes.
And what I liked most about this is that it made me wonder if, like in Preacher, the way God does this, if Santa like once a year goes to Earth and like fucking goes on a mega bender and he gets all fucked up, goes to some biker bars, puts all the stuff up his butt, that kind of a thing.
Maybe he does. Maybe this Santa does.
Well, he had a bit of a, I'll tell you now, he had that bit of the glint of a wise old man, a wise old lecherous creep who's been through the wars.
So Buddy's off on this adventure.
On a fucking ice float!
Yeah. Lovely little iceberg bit. The nice narwhal saying goodbye. He was my favourite of the stop motion characters. Bye, Buddy. Hope you find your dad.
You want to know my favourite narwhal fact?
Yes, please.
I believe it was Queen Victoria, and I believe I could have told the story before, but there is a...
Was she a narwhal?
No, yeah!
Okay.
So, Queen Victoria was gifted a narwhal tusk that was encrusted in jewels, and the belief was that it was a genuine unicorn horn. That was how it was presented and how it was displayed within the museum for many, many years. They still have it as part of like the crown, the jewels owned by the empire or whatever.
Yeah.
But it should. I don't know if they've updated the records to reflect its non-unicornness.
It's not actually a unicorn. Wow. No, I didn't know that.
You sort of get a bunch of kids excited. They love unicorn shit. Like, you don't want to be walking towards Buckingham Palace, or they could be going towards the Starbucks instead,
So Buddy, he's come out of, film set Elfland's North Pole world and is now very much in the harsh reality of New York City.
Or the harsh reality of Nottingham animal territory, because the raccoon's like, there's I like that immediately the whole kind of animal friends and stuff like that. A raccoon is not your friend.
They're not stop motion anymore. Okay, no. That's the hot tip. If they're stop motion, nice. If they're real, bad.
Yeah. Generally try and avoid non-stop motion animals if the animals
aren't animated, don't go near them. All right.
Personally, I don't go near any animals that aren't Aardman because the quality. The quality is what I really am after.
Now, the montage of Buddy in New York, running around doing New York stuff, I think that's fairly iconic. Had you seen any of these little glimpses of Buddy in New York before, either in GIF form, in kind of compilation, festive Christmas movie stuff?
Funnily enough, where I remember seeing a lot of it first was because probably one of the main places I saw GIFs at the time was MySpace. I remember remember there being little snippets of Buddy across various MySpace profiles and whatnot. This montage also was on a lot of people's Bebo pages as their featured video once Christmas time came a knocking. And also as well, I've been advertised to, like Sky have really tried over the years, and you know, lots of services that provide TV have over the years been like, hey, you could watch movies this Christmas on telly, and that's really a strong one that they'll go for. It'll be like, you can watch Buddy go around in the spinny
the revolving doors
here.
One, I've seen that countless times.
Which I feel it's not fair because it's missing the heart of the comedy here, which is all comedy is tragedy, and the tragedy of this is Buddy being yet another victim to the hyperbole of New York City.
Oh, so that the world's best cup of coffee stuff.
Come on, you can't just say that.
I know. And him eating gum off a subway railing.
Yeah, that was not good.
In time of COVID, feels particularly awful as it was anyway. I'm like, no, geez Louise.
I felt when he was going on his adventure, he'd probably fit into modern times. I say, let's put COVID aside.
Yeah.
Into like modern-ish times, I feel he would fit in better. I feel New York City particularly in the non-COVID 2020 would be a lot more set up for someone in an elf costume walking around being very curious. He'd probably make a fucking bundle.
Yeah, no, he'd have a YouTube series. Everyone would just think they were on a prank show. They'd be looking for all the cameras. Go, yeah. I think a lot of this, again, I'm leaning heavy on that flimsy Netflix documentary, was like him just interacting with real people and just being in real New York streets.
Yeah,
they
caught me like, you're on camera.
And they said that there's a guy in like a red tracksuit who's got a white
Santa
beard.
Man.
Apparently he was just there and he wasn't. I don't believe that. I think that's bullshit. I think they must have set that up.
Not for a second I thought any of this was like guerrilla filming man on the street type of shit. No way.
I think it was. And hey, look, I'm a little bit, places that publish little kids' storybooks.
Yes.
Are they based in the Empire State Building, typically?
The Empire State Building is just office space, Sam.
Anyone can have that.
Look, the bottom line is that the dad is on the naughty list for a reason. He's one of those bad publishers. But the long con of all of this, or the end game result of all this, I should say, is really that like probably most publishers are out of business now, good ones and bad ones. So he's definitely been like, at the start I was like, look, he's already vindicated because he's going to have a big downfall eventually, good, bad, or indifferent.
So he starts off back in the heyday of, publishing books and things. He felt he was on top of the world. He was denying books to nuns. He was not bothering with a reprint when pages were missing.
It really seems to me, Sam, that the writers' room meeting where they're like, so what kind of a thing does a publisher do? Like, storyboard, sell the books.
Yeah.
Get ready for the boss.
We're down 8 on this quarter. We need more books in it.
Yeah, it felt like they didn't need that real estate. I mean, it's sad for me that this business will be long out of print before they realise in 2020 that most of them probably could have worked from home. You don't need that in fucking Times Square. Like the kid's like, I don't like the book, Daddy. I'm like, yeah, but it came from the Empire State Building, the creme de la creme in New York.
So Buddy's very quickly got to see his dad. He's found his dad really quickly. He looked at the snow globe, managed to get to the right place. And his secretary, as he's come up to his dad's office, says, I think someone sent you a Christmas-gram. Now, again, Christmas-gram? Ever seen a Christmas-gram? I've not seen many grams.
I've not seen a telegram.
Kisser, Christmas, Christmas, Chrisser. I've not seen many grams.
It's all Instagram these
Nowadays
days.
It would be, wouldn't it? Yeah.
They should do that where it's like it's an Instagram but someone like shows up immediately at your house to give you an instant telegram style service. And you're like really out of breath. It's Instagram. It's this different. It's okay.
But Buddy gets an audience with James Caan. He gets to go into the office, and it's now down to him to perform. Have you ever felt that sudden pressure that you didn't realise you were going to have to perform or do something in front of people important, and then someone said, right, go and do your thing?
Yes.
It's not good, is it?
For me, it ended really badly because when I was a cat researcher, we did this thing where like a whole bunch of researchers went up to Mount Snowdon in Snowdonia in Wales.
Ooh,
We're all going to climb climb the mountain, then go and hang out in a nice little hostel afterwards. And they were going to like do this thing called academic roulette, where you just have a bunch of gobbledygook slides of made up science and you have to like blag your way through it.
Yeah.
Which honestly is literally what I'm designed to do on this planet. If that was an actual job, I reckon I'd be fine at doing wrong presentations.
Yeah.
And my boss kind of gave me a little nudge and he said, I've put your name forward for it and I think you'd be very good. And he was a very, very quiet sort. Like, he wasn't very kind of extroverted or anything, but I knew he had a sense of humor. So I tried to do a few jokes that weren't necessarily at his expense, but they were things like kind of, oh, he'll know about this because it was like a cow, like because he just wastes his time looking at cows, this lad. You know, that's what you do in animal science. And everyone was like, wait, and it went all right. And I felt kind of very under pressure and the jokes weren't great. And he was deadly silent afterwards.
Oh, no.
As if he had a look in his face as if to say, well, I've done myself there really because I put you forward and now I've been devastated with your cow reference. So there you go. Never do it, folks. Never do it if you're asked to do anything fun ever.
Well, Buddy's there and he's singing like, I'm here with this researcher. He likes looking at cows. I really like cows. I'm here with the researcher. Yeah, he's saying...
It's harder for him. He has to sing a recap of the first act. Like.
I've come to see my dad. You are my dad. I love you, I love you, I love you. Oh, it's sad, isn't it? And James Caan is just confused and unimpressed until Buddy mentions his mum. He mentions the name of his mum, and so...
Bums rush! Get out of here!
Gets him kicked out. And favourite visual gag of this whole film, I think, maybe, is Buddy seeing a toy store in the distance, looking up at it, being amazed by it, heading towards it, and then the music just cutting out because he gets lightly hit by a taxi. He just gets sort of run over a little bit.
I spent most of the movie worried that he was going to get run over at some point.
Well, it kind of releases the pressure on that a little bit. You just get a little a little bit of running over.
Thought, now that's what 2020 has done to you, because I thought, oh yeah, you do that one there so that later, boom, when you meet girls.
The big one.
The big one. You know, when the proper Regina Georgia, you really go hardcore there. And I think I will say that is due to extemporaneous anxiety about a sausage order. So let's leave it at that.
Yeah. You've got the sausage anxiety.
It manifested itself.
Right. And Buddy, he manages to find his way into this toy store. It's a big department store. He's kind of wandering around.
Oh, he has loads of fun in the department store as well, because this was a moment in the movie I thought if there was like a dad's cut or a director's cut or whatever it is for all the naughty dads in their jeans to watch it in a garage, it would be where he stands up and he's like, they have such big toilets. And I wrote down, good on you, Buddy, you get to take your first proper shit, like proper human shit. And I imagine that would have been a really great scene.
What, for you and all the dads in the garage just in your jeans?
I'm not a dad, I should point that out. I randomly had a kid.
You and all the dads in the garage. You're not one of them, but you and the other.
We could all appreciate together all the fart noises and him going, wow! And then him coming out and saying, like, do not use that toilet.
But the manager of the toy department thinks he's, an actor playing an elf or like a member of staff, and so drags him over while he's looking at some sexy lingerie that says, for your special someone. He gets dragged away to come and work with the toys.
And he does meet Zoe Elfinel. I can't remember if she was in my large-scale
She wasn't. No,
bombing.
I was waiting to see if she popped up, but no, she didn't. So did you know she was in this?
No, I didn't. But I will say in my defense, when I listed those names, I elected not to include the phrase, and people like that. And I felt that blanket term covers Zoe Deschanel.
Yeah.
Indisputably, it covers Zoe Deschanel.
Yes, and she's here as Jovi.
An odd name on the palette.
Jovi. Dressed as an elf, because that's her job. Her job is to be a member of staff in this department store in the toy section. And Buddy is just in awe of her and her ability to decorate a tree. And she's very kind of annoyed by his antics at first, thinks he's been sent there to wind her up. But she's you can even see early on she's kind of coming around to this nice Will Ferrell type guy.
It's the classic love story that if you're completely off-putting and you have absolutely no idea how to act around someone and you're a complete fucking baboon to them, just keep doing it and they're like...
They might eventually get used to it and find it charming. Yeah.
It's important that it is charming.
Yeah. Well, so Buddy, he stays in this toy shop all night, making things extra Christmassy.
Yeah, Santa's come and get your lights and your paper ready.
But what that means is when Jovi gets in the morning and takes a shower, and he hears her singing in the shower room. He just walks into the ladies' locker room to listen to her singing and also to sing along.
It's one of those bits of the movie that wouldn't be in the movie if the movie was made now.
Yes, you're right about that. I think that's absolutely correct.
Because I thought they do the whole thing where, he does it and she comes out and she's like, ah! And then, but she's like, oh, I'm blooming naked. You could have seen everything. Literally everything.
It is literally later on. I mean, she is shocked because he ends up singing along loudly and she's like, don't look at me. So he covers his eyes, runs off, runs into some lockers. And later on, it is all kind of just, hey, were you being a pervert? He's like, no, just like the singing. She's like, oh, okay. And none of it is like, what the fuck were you what are you doing? I'm going to report you now. It's more like, were you being a tinker? No, I wasn't being a tinker, actually. I was being a singer, which is different. A singer.
In my opinion, I'm going to come at you here now, a little bit of hard opinion, the store was too decorated.
Yes.
Yes. And you can have too much decoration. That's my Christmas warning to you all. I don't think anyone's in danger of decorating too much this year, are they?
I don't disagree with you, though, about this store and but Buddy's very enthusiastic and everyone's very impressed by his decorating.
Why is the high street failing? Because elves keep turning half the stock into decorations.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's very resourceful with just stuff he finds to make it into Christmas stuff, but doesn't spare a thought for what those things cost or where they've come from.
Oh, but the Santa arrives and it's an underwhelming Bronx Santa.
Yes, I mean, Buddy versus Fake Santa is great.
I wrote down here, if he was in The Sopranos, he'd probably go, ho! Ho, ho.
Pointing it with I enjoyed the little kid on Santa's lap sort of saying, hey, how old are you? I'm 4. I'm 4.
Here's some food for thought. Anytime I've watched an American Christmas movie or Christmas show or whatever it may be, this is how they present Santa. Up on a stage or a platform or right there in front of everyone, and you all stand up and you watch all the other kids go up. So, it's very much like a public court. And if, you fucking shit yourself and you piss all over Santa in his eye and all over his beard and he has to change it.
We've all seen it.
They're all going to see. And I thought, it's scandalous how open the breaches this entire situation is. What's your memory of Santa? Because anytime I went to Santa in Mullingar or Galway or Dublin, he was in an enclosed zone, usually a garden shed that had been covered in wrapping paper, which had been placed within a plaza. But you didn't see him until you went through the breach.
That's part of the magic. I wonder whether North America has some sort of grotto shortage or doesn't even have any grottos, because you're right, you would always go in and meet Santa.
If you can put it in the car park of a Crazy Prices in Longford, you can do it in New York City.
And it would be a private thing, and this starts to sound dodgy the more I say it, but it wasn't. You go in, you'd meet Santa, you'd have your moment with Santa, and then you'd go out, and then the magic would be waiting to go in. You don't bury your lead and reveal Santa straight away.
If you've ever been to a sci-fi convention or any sort of a movie expo where there's loads of people signing autographs, there's usually one or two of them who are not out amongst the masses. They're in a special room, or in the case of when I went to one and Sting was there, a special room they made out of partitions so that you couldn't see. They were just away in their own little zone. They kept the myth alive, Sam,
Is that to stop people from taking little sneaky photos from the side of these people or something?
No, it's to keep the myth of it alive. That's why Sting's made a comeback in 2020 and Santa's not.
Right, and this is Sting the wrestler, not Sting the musician.
If Sting the musician finds out, he'll be livid about Sting the wrestler. Sting, felt he was entitled to a partition-made room on account of all the tantric sex. Over in this country, if Santa was going to say, I'm a fake, how do you like to be dead? You'd hear that privately in a grotto and all the other kids wouldn't catch wind of it. Yeah, and then the next kid comes in, as far as they're concerned, you're rebooting the franchise. It's a hard reset. New Santa, here we go. But he gets into a big scuffle with Santa. Bad Santa disrespects a Lego. Yes, he does. Come on. But he made all the Lego and that. I mean, that you can't do that overnight. That takes days. Even if you are a human raised by elves, that takes days. And I say that as someone who's built a Lego camper van. Yeah. That was... wow. Oh, no, it's just a little one, was it? Never mind. Sorry. Not full size.
No, just a little
I thought the Cinema Swirl World Tour was going to be really fucking rad, but whatever.
He brought in a present for his dad when he got kicked out by security a second time, and that present has got to his dad. James Caan's opened this present. It's the sexy lingerie because it was for your special someone, and Buddy doesn't understand what that means. Sees the photo of him as a young man with Buddy's mum.
What shit security, though, because they give him the bum's rush and they're like, yeah, we'll take it right to him. And they're like, crumpling up with that. So they do. That was very Christmassy. The security guards had the twinkle in their eye.
Yeah, we'll see to it that he gets this. And then they do give it to him.
You twisted his arm unnecessarily, but you twisted my heartstrings even more.
Buddy's ended up in jail, but gets bailed out by his dad.
I wrote down Buddy in Oz, and then I said, no, don't do that because you'll give people bad thoughts, and it's a Christmas special, so don't think about that.
And his dad's immediate follow-up to bailing his son out of jail is to take him to get a paternity test to see if he is actually his son.
And that's what I like about the movie, is that because they take him to, like, the director, Jon Favreau, who's, like, the creator of the movie, and he's like, am I his dad? And he's like, yes, I created you. I created all of you.
In a way, you're all my children.
Look, that's just the way the Plandalorian rolls, man. He's a mysterious cat.
One thing that I found particularly unpleasant about this was that Buddy's eating, like, cotton balls.
Oh, no.
Which is such a horrible thing to think about.
I can reveal to you all, I suffered when I was a young teenager and a child from, I think it actually has a term in psychology. Because I found out when I found out that animals did it when I was studying them. Like, oh, that's me. Called pica. I used to eat little pieces of paper.
Yeah.
And I couldn't stop myself. Like, if I got a new book or anything for Christmas, like, I looked at my old Harry Potter books from when I was a kid. Half the page corners are, like, missing because I would just eat them, like, nervously all the time. I don't do that anymore, thank fucking Christ for that. But cotton wool, I mean, at least sometimes paper would be, like, you know, tasty or whatever, but cotton wool is obviously, you know, objective. I let that one slide in there. Cotton wool's obviously bad, right?
Yeah. Do you ever go on a rubber, like an eraser? Did you ever pop one of those in?
No. Although a wooden pencil, oh Jesus Christ, I would render that to splinters.
Big teeth marks in it.
To this day, don't give me a pen. And I'm holding you all to account now. None of you give me a pen, because I'll use my fucking monster teeth on it.
It'll go straight in there. Yeah.
And I won't lie to you, it'll feel great, but only for me.
Yeah.
Not you.
No,
not
once
your
you get that pen back. If you're going to give Kevin a pen, make sure you just buy, like, one of those Poundland boxes of biros and just give him as many as he wants, and then that's fine.
The caveat here is the important one. With regards to pens and pens alone, treat me as you would a goat. Don't encourage it, but I'm not saying you can't do it. Just know what the consequences will be.
Yes. So, it is revealed that Buddy is, in fact, a son of James Caan. And director Jon Favreau says he might be reverting to a childlike sense of dependency. So, just take him home with you. Hang out with him.
That was a cracking diagnosis, though, wasn't it? That was Ricky. It was, House would arrive at much the same conclusion.
He's had a big old think about that, and he's just gone, probably just upset.
Tired.
Just a bit tired. And so he gets brought home to the family, to the rich old Hobbs family in New York.
They are not ready for the elf culture war that is about to be unleashed upon them, essentially. One thing that was genuinely impressive, him tanning that cola. That was, fuck me. Wow.
Right. It was impressive, but I was going to say my least favourite part of the movie was him drinking all the Coke and doing a big burp.
I'm going to just ask you this. I will be very brief with the question. I don't want to make a big thing about it, but I feel like in the Christmas special here now, I've opened up a little bit about something that I used to do and all that. And I think it's quite good, because usually these episodes, when they're non-reversed, are laden with unnecessary segments reflecting on your personal struggles. And I feel I've opened up a bit there.
Yeah.
But with regards to PM, I won't say its name.
Yeah.
And that scene there, just 2 words. Have you?
No.
Okay.
No.
How close have you come to a 110 bottle? Because I think that's a 2-litre jug.
Oh, see, right here now, what I thought you were saying was have I in recent times gone back to the back?
No, I'm asking you, have you ever...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God!
Maybe not like in one go a whole bottle, but like I've been glugging it straight from the bottle in copious amounts in the past.
It doesn't count if you don't put the empty bottle on your head and go, "Way!"
I'm not a fan of belch humour. I don't like a funny burp. For some reason, it rubs me up the wrong way. I've never been.
Oh no! Come on now, you can't count. Right, farts. Are farts funny for you?
Sometimes burps are funny as well, and sometimes farts are funny.
But burps are more rarely funny than farts.
I would say so. Yeah.
Okay, because something happened when we were watching this, and I think this is genuinely just not just funny. I think it's delightful as well. He burped so long in this scene that Joe, the intern, did a little burp at the end as well. Like he was like, ugh, and then she, bam, out of popped. And she was doing something else at the same time. So it wasn't if she was like, oh, I'm going to do a burp now. She wasn't consciously doing it. It just got through to her. The body read the signal.
It's like yawning, where if someone starts yawning, you also then start yawning. Do you think that can happen with burping?
With a burp, yes. A belch, no.
Right, burp, but not belch.
And what is the difference between a burp and a belch, you might ask? The difference between a burp and a belch, firstly, a belch will always be wetter, and a belch you usually smack your lips during or after the noise has been initiated.
This is like rubbing me up the wrong way now. You just talking about the different types of burps.
Yeah, you had pie jelly last Christmas, or Christmas or two ago. So here we go, reverse swirl in the house.
If I cut into a pie and it's just burps, it's like...
Sam, I must say, that's dangerous knowledge you tend to throw.
I know. I've tried to, keep it hidden and not rise to it, not respond to it.
So a really interesting thing has happened in the expanded cola universe. I feel like this recent year of Cinema Swirl has been dominated less by talk about colas and more about talk about streaming giants in one guise or another. It just seems to be like a central theme to Cinema Swirl now.
Yeah.
Because we live in 2020. And
enough of soda streams. Now streaming Disney
okay,
yeah.
I literally got soda streaming happening in my real life because I don't know if it's happening for you and if I've bought some things and the algorithm has worked out, but many streaming services available. I subscribe to a few, one of which is Amazon Prime, and only upstairs in our bedroom where there's a Fire Stick, we get a little banner on the top and it will say Pepsi Max recommends you, and then there'll be the movie. And the other day,
hold on, Pepsi Max is recommending you movies.
Is recommending me movies. Pepsi Max recommended that me and Joe watch Lethal Weapon the other night, and I'm not ashamed to say we did.
I feel like Pepsi Max is trying to muscle in on my position here as like person who you talk to about movies and do stuff.
Can you, if you're going to talk about my mate, can you put some respect in your voice, please? Thank you.
I don't want to be replaced by Pepsi Max.
Me, Joe the intern, our great mate Pepsi Max, watching Lethal Weapon, which they said was a great movie to enjoy with mates, and it was great. No, we didn't actually drink any of the product while we were watching, but I didn't think...
Don't tell your mate Pepsi Max.
But I didn't raise a stink about Mel Gibson when we watched either, so I figured that was like, I did them a solid.
I love that Pepsi Max is recommending movies now.
But it could work out for this, because you've not seen Lethal Weapon, have you?
No, so I could probably do a podcast with Pepsi Max.
We can circumvent, be like, hey, let's do a Mel Gibson swirl. This is the Pepsi Max swirl now. They're saying we have to do Lethal Weapon.
A very, very interesting development in the cola and streaming worlds that they've combined.
This is happening to you.
Yeah.
Please let us know.
Let us know what Pepsi Max has recommended to you.
What Pepsi Max is telling you to do with your life.
Maybe fucking Iron Brew is recommended and stuff to you. I don't know. Maybe it's because you're mates with me and you've had so much Pepsi Max content in your life. Now, Buddy, he's making breakfast for everyone, which is, of course, spaghetti and maple syrup.
Jesus. It was a double-edged sword, this, because initially it made me feel a bit sick and it put me off my dinner. But then I was in that weird point today where I was like, oh, should I have my dinner before or after we record? And now I'm going to eat after, and I feel fine because of this scene was so gross and the scenes that came after it.
But then I do start to wonder whether it would be completely unpleasant or not. Just some spaghetti.
With the red sauce?
With the red sauce and a bit of maple syrup. Would that be... Like, people sometimes put chocolate in a bolognese or a spaghetti. Sometimes.
You can do that to balance out the chili flavours, Sam. But this is... Maple syrup. I hate this bullshit in America where they're like, oh, maple syrup, give it to me. Glug, glug, glug. Everything's big in Texas. It's like £4 for a bottle. Yeah?
Yeah. But we're paying that import tax on getting it
Taking
over here.
Taking a fucking ruler every time.
They're just drinking it straight out of the tree. They've got maple trees over there.
And chewing on some maple bark while I'm over here with my goddamn millimeters.
I mean, I keep wanting to go on about how cute Buddy is. The fact he uses an Etch-a-Sketch to make notes and stuff. And
Etch-a-Sketch. What's your Etch-a-Sketch skill level like, Sam?
Not good.
Me neither.
No.
I was wondering, if you took like a youngster now, like a tick-tock clock.
And showed them an Etch-a-Sketch.
And you gave them an Etch-a-Sketch. Do you think they'd take like a duck to water and be like, what is this, old man?
They'd try and touch it, wouldn't they?
I don't know. Would they now? Would they try and swipe? It's got a skill level. I knew a few kids when I was growing up, and honestly, no one since the age of 10 I've ever seen anyone who's truly proficient with an Etch-a-Sketch.
Yeah.
And I remember this because on 2 separate occasions of my 6 years in boarding school, I remember finding a very broken Etch-a-Sketch on various parts of the school ground. Like someone was like,
Fuck this shit.
Fuck it, I'm getting a Newton.
I don't know if it's something to do with me like being left-handed, but no, it is just difficult for everyone, isn't it?
You're a southern pod bear, aren't you?
Yeah, maybe it's that. No, I think it's just they are difficult. I mean, the whole being scared of a radiator thing is very cute.
I sometimes get scared of radiators still.
Yeah, at night they make scary noises, or in the morning when they come on. It's right. So Will Ferrell on his own at home with spaghetti, mushing up loads of sweets, just pouring sweets and gummies and M&Ms and shit on it, and then breaking up Pop-Tarts on top of that, and then Will Ferrell, the actor, shoving that into his mouth. I mean, I admire his commitment to the bit.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
I admired my commitment to Pop-Tarts, that still after that I still kind of wanted a Pop-Tart.
Yeah, it did make me want a Pop-Tart.
Oh, yes.
You mentioned people making the food from Elf in the pre-swirl. Like, I imagine there's been like challenges of people, make Buddy's spaghetti monstrosity and eat it. People have probably done that on YouTube, haven't they?
Yeah, where they do like, I've seen it done a few bunch of times where someone has tried to do like kind of a sweet pasta. I saw someone try to do like a dessert version of spaghetti carbonara once, and even though it looked amazing, I felt a little bit unwell.
Or was it like a kind of white chocolatey sauce?
Yeah, I think so. Or maybe it's got bacon in there and egg yolks. It's got Parmesan cheese. Parmesan ice cream. It's yellowy white. I thought it was posh vanilla, Mum. No, it's the Parmesan ice cream. Give it back. It's for adults.
Buddy's dad, Walter, he needs to ship a new book this quarter. Otherwise, he's in trouble.
Otherwise, Peter Kay won't have no more gigs this year.
Meanwhile, at school, Walter's other son, his other little son, Michael, is talking to his school friends, which is what little boys used to talk about in 2003. I've got every weapon in the game. I've got full health, full armor. And then Buddy's like, it's me, Buddy. But, classic video game chat with your mates after school.
Yeah, bragging about your full health. For how long, mate? How long is that now you're going to have that for, yeah? Don't talk to me about your temporary status, please. Talk to me about your achievements. I noted here, Sam, that they then decided to rip off the now iconic Jack Frost movie Snow War scene that we reviewed last year over for Cinema Swill. Move over, Battle of Hoth. There's a new ice sheriff in town.
I've got a lot of love for the kind of practical camera trickery here. And a little bit when they're both making snowballs, so the camera just pans away to Michael, the little boy, and then pans back to Will Ferrell. And obviously they've just dumped a bunch of snowballs near him, so he looks like he's made loads. But it's much more effective than if you had like a sped up shot of him going making loads of snowballs. But they do get a bit of speeding up stuff. But
yeah, but they resisted the urge to go, like, if you imagine this movie had happened 10 years earlier with Jim Carrey, which is honestly the most conceivable thing ever. The fact this came out in 2003 with Will Ferrell. And Joe said to me at the end of this, she was like, I can't think of anyone else from that kind of comedy crop who's managed to do something a bit holly and jolly. And I think that's quite a testament. Ain't no fucking Owen Wilson, Ben Stiller. Don't come at me with the holiday. He's managed to turn his mainstream comedy charm into Christmas gold here, and I appreciate that.
I wonder if Carey could do it. It would be an interesting movie to watch. Yeah, if this had come out like 8 years earlier.
It'd be fucking exhausting is what it was. This has got there's a gentleness to this.
There is a very gentleness to Will Ferrell's portrayal of Buddy here, and it's nice.
Yeah, he doesn't come across as a jerk, even though sometimes there are scenes where if you're citing what he does, it's like, oh, that's a bit gross or a bit weird or whatever. Yeah. He plays it perfectly.
And I'll tell you what about this snowball scene, what I really appreciated about it is that it doesn't outstay its welcome. A snowball battle could very easily, and we found this with Jack Frost, and I think other Christmas movies, they can go on for a bit too long, a snowball fight scene.
Get into the part of the snowball fight scene where there's a sick guitar solo, which is usually an indicator that it's getting a little bit long in the tooth.
Yeah, and then I was thinking, actually, this film never really wastes its time, does it? It's very breezy. It's economical with its jokes and its scenes. It only sticks around with, scenes and bits for as long as it needs to, which I really, really appreciate. appreciate.
Yeah, no, it's fast-paced. It is a light 90-min watch, for sure.
I mean, speaking of fast-paced, now Buddy's asking out Jovi for a date on the recommendation of his little brother, Michael. It's like, you need to ask her to go on a date with you.
Eat food with me.
That's cute in an awkward way. My tongue swells up when I look at you. You know, classic date stuff, you know.
High-end date stuff right there.
Yeah, and she agrees on Thursday.
But he has got the horrible mountain to climb now of dressing like a dad until that time, and he has to dress up in... He wears the suit and tie, the trappings of the capitalist pig, and he has to go to the big city to sell his soul to the man in the rat race.
And you know what? I've watched this a few times, but it says a lot about the portrayal of Buddy by Will Ferrell, that when he wears normal clothes...
He still looks very silly.
It feels weird. And even though it's like... But it's Will Ferrell wearing normal clothes, which isn't weird. But the fact that because I'm so used to it being Buddy and now he's wearing normal stuff...
And it's not like there's comedy there because the clothes are silly or that they're like slightly too big or too short.
No.
He looks very, very well in his suit, and that's the joke. That's what's so funny. The way he leans over and stuff still, you notice it a lot more in these bits, which I liked a lot.
Yeah, he carries himself as a man not used to wearing normal clothes.
If there was one bit of the movie that I could have done with a bit more of, it's this bit, because this is the bit that I like the most, of him like working in the office and stuff like that. I thought there was gold in these here hills.
He reacts to coffee the way I react to coffee. It's like, bleh.
I react to him not being able to react to coffee like I do when I react to people who don't know how to react to coffee, which is going, can't take his grass. Now, the dirty mailroom where all the smelly letters get sent.
Yes, he's sort of cruelly tricked by his dad to kind of go down into the mail room because, I've got to stay here, but you can go to the magical mail room and, you know, there's letters and stuff that you can touch.
And because of the state of the room, if there was a sign in this area where it said like mail room, M-A-L-E room, and you come in, there's a bunch of kind of dingy, semi-bald. One guy's like, I'm 26, he looks fucking 50. All these like hairy misanthropes, and it's all like stained and damp. It is a mail room.
Okay, that guy, right, if you went back to like 1998 and then shrunk the Big Show, I think that's what that guy looks like. Yeah, he looks like a kind of smaller version of the Big Show. He says he's 26. He is not 26.
They get drank.
Buddy's excited because he sees him putting syrup in his coffee. That ain't syrup. And then they get drunk and they all get on and he has a laugh with everyone.
Yeah, right, because coffee's so horrible and whiskey's lovely. Right, yeah, cool. I love whiskey and coffee. So you fucking call that Irish coffee and consult with us first.
Meanwhile, upstairs in the grown-ups office, Kyle Gass and Andy Richter are the two lads pitching. It's double sidekick time.
He and KG.
They're pitching to bring in a guy called Miles Finch to come and write a new book for them or give them some ideas.
High-end writer that he is. And erstwhile, the mailroom has become like the fun bit from the Titanic, where, ironically, all the Irish people were. I wonder what that was.
Yeah, so they're on this conference call with this fancy writer, but, there's a problem down in the mailroom. What's that problem, Kevin? It's that Buddy's created a party atmosphere.
Oh, because of his Christmas spirit.
Everyone's having fun.
He pretty much nails his hot date. Yeah. Goes for the big ice skate kiss. I kind of feel like there's an increased buff of getting a kiss if you're ice skating, simply because to push someone away who is going to kiss you, you're kind of entering into a world of unknown ice skatery there. If someone was going to try and kiss me and I was like, I don't know if I want to kiss them, I probably would end up kissing them anyway, because I'm much more confident about being kissed than I am about skating backwards.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh no, I don't want to kiss. And be like, also broken my ankle because I hate you.
I don't think I've ever had to kiss someone or be kissed on any kind of moving skates or skateboards. And I've roller skated, I've ice skated, I've skateboarded. But the idea of kissing on something that moves underneath your feet is bad.
I mean, usually the colder it gets, the more romantically inclined I am. I think, that is true of many people. It's the season of jumpers and heating.
and kissing.
But once it gets into ice, I'm old Jack Frost. That's...
Yeah. The date that he goes on, he basically takes her on a date through the first 5 minutes of Buddy turning up in New York. He just shows her all this stuff that he was excited about the first time.
At the end, she's like, look, I want it. Sky is available, Night TV. That sounds like a really great deal, honestly. Home Alone 2, you say?
And yeah, they do a big kiss. Like, he kisses her on the cheek and then she goes in for the big kiss. So that was nice.
Big kiss. More like big pitch, because it's time for them to talk to this fancy new writer.
And it's someone who you know.
It's someone who I know.
Yeah.
It's only old Tyrion Lannister, Peter Dinklage here, who made me immediately realise two things. One, I bet this is the thing that you're like, oh yeah, there's a bit of a dodgy bit, because of just the way they filmed him coming in. It's like, oh, you can't see him because he's short.
Yeah.
And that as well also made me realise that, wow, miraculously, Game of Thrones has not occupied any rental space in the retail park of my consciousness and it is a retail park, since it stopped.
It's just gone, hasn't it? It's just got, it's out of there. Yeah.
It had no impact on me whatsoever that it was in here. And I don't want to talk too much about this scene because it's, it is what the fuck it is. It's a 2003, cheap gags about him being short. It's whatever, It's not so fucking mean-spirited and horrible, but it's just like, But
the basic thing here, if you're not aware of it, is that Buddy bursts in during this meeting and he thinks that Peter Dinklage's character is an elf because he's confused and they have a big scuffle. Now, the two bits I do want to point out is that Peter Dinklage's character, he's this great writer and he's got all these good ideas, and they're pitching an idea about tomatoes and he just says, no tomatoes, too vulnerable. Kids are already... No tomatoes, too vulnerable.
Which time they're hurry, they can be sun-dried and fried green as well. I would have read a whole anthology of vegetable tales as a child.
Yeah, I would have.
I read Tales of the Bounty Hunters. Of course I'm going to read Tales of the Alliums.
And in terms of cuteness from Buddy, him bursting in and saying, I'm in love, and I don't care who knows it, spinning around, throwing his hat, that's really sweet. So it's a shame that scene comes in this bit that, let's face it, is now not great.
Because he keeps calling him an elf, and he's like, and they keep doing the thing where he's like, you say it one more time, and he says it every other time, and he gets beaten up, and I was like, oh, right, this will be fun then. And even that is just a bit like, it just felt like I felt sad at the end of it, and not very, just vaguely. I felt bad for Buddy and bad for Peter Dinklage's character, and the fact that we go right to him apologising to his parents and not him, I'm like, come on, Buddy, there's another card due.
Yeah, but in a way, it's sort of satisfying to see Peter Dinklage properly, he just beats the shit out of Will.
It's an impressive 2-foot dropkick, I'll give him that, yeah.
That was good stuff. Buddy's dad, James Caan, he flips at Buddy, tells him to sling his up, get out of here, and so we get... Buddy's he's cast out. He doesn't feel like he fits in anymore. He's
Everybody's talking at me. I don't hear what they're saying. Oh, Buddy has to walk the streets now for a bit. Yeah. And they're worried, and it's the day of the big pitch, and they're like, Dad, Buddy's gone missing. I'm being the little boy. He's gone missing. And the man is like, you have to decide between your son and your job, James Caan.
Okay, so that boss man, I just want to point out, he does some great finger pointing, finger prodding, finger wiggling action. He's a great actor for that. He's slamming it down on the table, pointing it at him.
Giving a welly, man. I loved it.
Gives us an absolute welly. And things have moved pretty quickly here because we already get that kind of... James Caan has got some of that Christmas spirit. He's realised he's being too into his job, and his son comes in and he's refusing to be the guy who sacrifices everything for work, and he's like, hey, screw you, I'm out of here. And his son is like, up yours, bye.
We don't need no security. We'll slip back into the publishing world for its many, many years into the future.
So they're now off to find Buddy. They've gone looking for Buddy.
And Santa's in the house, and very noisily, I might add, how this operation has went on, this fucking ramshackle bullshit. You think the mall Santa's got breaches? This guy, well, everybody, it's me, Santa. I don't know if you love me enough. Oh, no, you don't.
It's because the clausometer is so low, and it hasn't been that low. But normally he'd be high above the clouds and no one would notice him.
The Iraq War claims yet another victim. Damn you, Bush and Blair.
There's no Christmas spirit anymore, Kevin.
Is that why Zooey Deschanel's got such a poor noodle technique? That was fun. Come on now. I've seen better chopstick action in a fucking pot noodle ad than I did in this scene.
Whoa.
I'm just saying, man. She didn't even bring it up to her face. Come on now.
Yeah, Santa's here, and he's like, hey, I need an elf's help. And Buddy's like, I'm not an elf. I can't do anything right. You're more of an elf than anyone I've met. And there's the big emotional swirling music, and I got really caught up in it. And yeah, Zooey Deschanel, she's eating noodles, watching the news, and the news cuts to a man in an elf costume walking around Central Park. She's like, oh, no, oh, there he is now.
Gag that I loved there was that it was pretty much identical to the Bigfoot footage or whatever.
Oh, yeah,
I love that. He has so. I love his comedy gait. That fucking perfect walkabout. It was so good.
It was very good. So Michael and Walter, the dad and little son, they find the missing sleigh engine and they're reunited with Buddy. Everything's happening nice and quick. I do like that.
And so quick that you're not going to have any moment for James Caan to be like, wait a minute, so like, did I buy those gifts all those years, or is it that my son is bad and I had to buy him the gifts? Are there kids who would have gotten gifts for free? Like an adult, he said, I'm on a naughty list. If I'm good, does that mean that I get free gifts as an adult, which I can then give to my kids, or are they only for me? It seems to be that these are unknown desires in some cases. There's a lot to unpack, and we move too fast to even dwell on it.
Doesn't matter. What matters is that he loves his son. He says, you're my son and I love you.
But Yay. What I'll do is I'll leave you with all those thoughts over the nice long Christmas now. You can have a think about that.
Thank you, Kevin. Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you.
Now, how do you feel about the Central Park Rangers?
Oh my God, this was so fun. They're like ring raids, Sam. It's so funny.
What is this? It's weird injected villainy here that they just have to... Because there's not really a villain of this piece.
No, you get the publisher guy, but there's antagonists for scenes, and someone needs to chase them and create a sense of like...
We need to have that final showdown thing.
Gotta get to gifts real quick. And they're kind of patchy in some respects of the lore surrounding the Central Park Rangers, who are hyped up as being overly enthusiastic yahoos. And I didn't have the heart to look it up and see if it was true. Like, they're still facing investigations about their handling of the Simon and Garfunkel concert in 1985. And like, whoa, that could be a real thing. And then later on, Santa's like, years ago, I put them on the naughty list and they've dedicated their lives to trying to catch me ever since. What?
Oh, God, yeah. There is some weird, deep lore here about this relationship between the Central Park Rangers and Santa.
On Spider-Man's watch, no less. And your fucking Miles Morales as well.
So Santa, he demonstrates that Christmas spirit makes the sleigh fly.
Oh, yeah.
Because he gives Michael a genuine Huff skateboard.
Now, Huff obviously were licking their chops with that sponsorship spot.
I can't remember if they're a real brand or not. They must be. I think they were.
How can you not know this?
Huff are real, aren't they?
Have you ever customized a skater? Or are you like, when you play skate, do you pick like Luigi and the Green Comet still or whatever, and you just like somehow play as this character in a different game, such as your insistence on playing as this character?
Just doing kickflips on that little bike. So yeah, the clausometer works when you get that Christmas spirit.
It goes a lot for very little. The boy is just told he's going to get this Huff board, and the boy's avarice over admittedly a very dated gift is enough to make it hover.
Yeah, so therefore, if we can get everyone on the same page, we can make it fly for ages. But his very smart suggestion of, can't we just put the camera on you and then everyone will know the Santa? He's like, no, because Christmas is about believing, not seeing, which is a kind of a faith argument.
It's true, and the follow-up argument of seeing is believing would leave a lot to be desired about your discussion points there, please, Santa.
Yes, so the Rangers are coming, but Buddy's got a plan.
Yeah, he's got to chant Elvish and make horse water come and fuck him up.
Little Michael has nicked the nice list, and...
Oh, this now! James
Caan is wearing a Santa outfit for some reason. It doesn't do anything, but that was a bit of fun.
Where were you in 2003 when this massive data breach occurred, where the fucking whims of everyone... Oh, what are you thinking of getting for Christmas? Hang on now!
Just publishing it on the news. It's like WikiLeaks all over again.
Has that happened to you when you've been doing a little bit of Christmas shopping, and it might be online because you're not allowed to go to the shops.
Wickedly
talented. And the wickedly talented checkout assistant decides to change all of your ads if you've not checked out yet, or even if you have. And you're on Instagram one day and it's like, whoa, it's your partner's fucking gift.
Yeah, I know.
Too many close calls this year.
That's the issue with these tailored ads, you know.
Come on,
you didn't get that back then, but you might have a little boy reading out your Christmas wish list to everyone, which includes Dirk Lawson wants a nice day of pampering at a spa, but he's a biker dude and he's sat in a bar. He shouldn't like those things. Oh, what? Oh,
and he points out that there's probably like lots of other people like that, and it's easy peasy. So maybe it's not that harsh to data breach. Tell you what I loved the weird little subplot that was just kind of in there for the writers, it felt like, of the universe that was the Channel 1 news station from New York and the recently hired Charlotte from Buffalo, New York, who was in the big. There was just so many like little like high end, like you were just watching another show or something. I love that. And, like when she's talking to a guy, like, let me tell you, Carl, what I like about you is that you look great and you do the news real justice. He's like got the passion for her. Like.
That was Thingy Off Veep, Matt Walsh or something.
Himself, sure.
Yeah, that guy. He was there.
There he was.
That is the whole little mini thing going on with the newsreader that if you don't follow it, you don't follow it. But if you look into it, it's like, oh, something's happening there.
As someone who used to spend a lot of time in 2003 looking at clips on eBaum's World, etc., of real life instances of there being tension between colleagues on local news stations.
Yes.
That's pretty much how I spent my first 2 or 3 years on the internet. I appreciated this a lot. It. And that's why you're there and I'm here.
So, hey, how are we going to get everyone feeling Christmassy? We're going to get Zooey Deschanel to sing a little song to spread some cheer for everyone in the crowd to hear.
I got excited because I thought, this is Zooey Deschanel at the height of her manic pixie dream girl, fresh out of the shiny wrapper powers.
Yep.
And I thought, right, here we go. Zoe's going to do a little bit of what I like to think is flash choir, where everyone starts singing a nice Christmas song.
Yeah.
And at the end of the first bit, not when everyone comes in, they start playing music, but when they all start singing together, it sounded grim. I don't know if I had the fucking joyless buffer, the joyless filter.
Joyless cut of this.
The joyless cut. Better not cry. And like the meaner's like, meow.
It's sort of what would happen if you did try and do that and they weren't all trained singers and they weren't all, like a troupe of people doing a flash mob.
Problem is that Zoe doesn't know how to rile up a Christmas crowd like Nobby would. He has to go, come on, kids! Then they take the hard bit and everyone would be like, we better do it for the kids,
I don't reckon Zoe could do the "It's Christmas" bit, to be fair to her, she's got range, but I don't think she could pull that off.
So the engine is bust. But New York is like, you mess with Santa Claus, you mess with all of us. And they're there to try and help them out with the Christmas cheer, yeah?
Yeah, because all the singing is then broadcast on the news, so everyone around New York, at least, is singing along. And the clausometer fills up.
And what I didn't realise is that when the clausometer reaches maximum, that Santa can show you his real form, which is this 64-bit weird fucking cutscene Santa on your PS1 disc.
It's a Christmas miracle. They're flying away. Everything's okay.
Love this little happy end where they put a little bow on things.
Yeah.
I thought it was very cute. I was screaming at James Caan going, make your son do the book, you fucking asshole. I was doing the whole movie. I'm glad
make your son do the fucking book.
And I'm really glad that James Caan listens to me.
Yes, he did.
I felt heard there as a result. And I liked them going back up and tying up the button with the elf dad and all that. That was very, very nice.
Yeah, lovely. Jovi and Buddy have had a little baby.
And a baby as well for Christmas.
Yes, and we end on a little visual goof of Bob Newhart saying, come here to me, little one, talking about the baby, but then Will Ferrell sits on his lap because he's still goofy old Buddy making little mistakes.
And we don't actually have to spend any time wondering about, because you see him at Christmas with the family and having a nice time, and is it has he learned how to act in the human world? Has he lost some of that childlike innocence? Has it gone away? Or will the fire be extinguished? The movie's over now. And I love that the movie was able to it felt lighter than air. It was so nice.
It comes in, it does what it needs to do, and it gets out of there, doesn't it? To
the point of which, at the end here now, I'm actually thinking, having discussed it with you, I realise things that I might have complained about. Because I remember reading, Hot Dog Magazine gave this 3 stars, and they said it was nothing special. Empire gave it a low rating as well, and that was movies as far as I was concerned when this came out. And I think there are a lot of little nitpicky things until you really think about when you're watching the movie, it's Christmas time, the backdrop of Christmas. This is a very functional movie, and I really appreciated that. Any movie where I feel I can have a little walnut whip induced nap at some point is fine by me, and I think it may give it an extra wiped star as a result.
Overall, did you enjoy Elf?
I had a grand old time. Honestly, any complaints I'd have about something dodgy or something in poor taste or anything like that, very, very minor. And if you're going to pop on something like Scrooge or something or anything else, you're going to find anything of that ilk. It is kind of a little sad to me that there's not more movies like this, where I can't see why you can't take names in comedy and put him in like just a family. That seems to have kind of gone. We've got like Jeff Bridges being this weird fucking fantasy Santa and a load of animated stuff, and Disney are churning out the usual. But I feel like someone's missed a trick here. How is this penetrated Primark and not fucking Hollywood again? Make another one.
Well, right.
Or something like it.
Yeah, something similar. Yeah.
Not another one. He's had his time.
I think this has kind of developed in its esteem in terms of people loving it as a Christmas film. I think it's just got bigger and bigger and bigger as time has gone on. It's become a bit of a modern classic. There has been, a sequel pondered. Jon Favreau's talked about it, but Will Ferrell has pretty much always insisted that he doesn't want to do it unless there's a really good story to justify it. And I'm struggling to think of what that story would actually be.
Okay, easy story is the kid is no, because fuck that. I'm not going to think about sequel.
Son of Elf.
Well, it'd be Babby of Susie is the name. Susie, and he picks some funny lady who never gets to be like a Christmas fucking Hollywood big release. And there you go. We could have a funny lady be Elf 2, and he could still be in it. That means I wasn't actually clamoring for a sequel. I just mean like
did a similar thing. Why have they not just put a big comedy name in Christmas film?
Because like I've watched such fucking bin water at Christmas. Because I'm honestly so fucking game for a Christmas movie.
Yeah,
I watched Bad Moms Christmas, even though Bad Moms really led me to believe I wouldn't enjoy it. Bad Santa. I watched Bad Santa 2 for some reason. And look, I'm not saying they're all
famously bad,
but
all these films are bad.
They're not like so bad. It's the point is like it's a low bar to entry for me of like I want to watch a Christmas movie, and this feels like it's successfully cleared that low bar. You give me a big name, give me some nice big visual gags, a couple of smart bits in there for mom and dad or whatever. Fucking love it. That's great. This is a fucking little gem. It really is.
It's a nice time. Is this going to slot its way into your Christmas watching, I guess, playlist, stack of DVDs? Are you going to have a DVD copy of Elf on the shelf from now on, Kevin?
Yeah, it rhymes.
Yeah? Yeah? Is it going to become one of your Christmas movies that you go to? Now when Joe's saying, or other people are saying, let's watch Elf, will you want to watch Elf?
I mean, I figure I would.
You'd like to give this another watch, at Christmas time? Next Christmas.
You mentioned in there that there's kind of like backgroundy bits and bobs and all that, and I feel like it's always a good mark of a movie if I watch it. And I mean, I've only done 2 of these reverse swirls, and both times I've been like, I enjoyed watching this movie, but I felt my enjoyment was potentially hampered by me having to take notes and then do a podcast about it.
Yeah.
So if it takes me enough that I want to go watch it again without having to do notes, I will definitely watch Elf again.
This is very fun because I popped this on at the weekend before recording this, and not anything to do with the recording. I just popped it on to kind of refresh my memory, but just to watch it without really thinking about it. It's a lovely one to just have on to make you feel Christmassy. It really, really, really works. So, Kevin, hey, all that's left is for me to ask you about the film Elf that we've watched together at Christmas.
Well,
how many white stars, because it's reverse swirl, remember, would you like to give this one?
You've heard of Elf on a Shelf, but you've got Elf all over yourself. Jesus Christ, look at me, wipe that off you there now. Sam, all the asterisks and buffs have to be considered. They duly have been, and I'm happy to give this a holly jolly 4 wiped stars.
Well, you heard it here first. Hey, thanks for listening to this episode of Reverse Swirl. This episode was produced by Kevin, edited by me, Sam, and hey, I also did the music. If you're after more Swirl content, or you just want to support the show, patreon.com/cinemaswirl is the place to go. On the socials, we are at cinemaswirl on Twitter, and on Facebook, we are facebook.com/cinemaswirl. If you've got bits and bobs for the mailbag, then send them on over to cinemaswirl@gmail.com. That's cinemaswirl@gmail.com. Thank you all for listening and for your support this year. It's been a wonderful year for the Swirl, and we'll see you soon. Bye.